You and I don't wanna be like them. Don't resent anyone. In this stage of life, this is about you. The people who want you to stay in that same way, even if they're trying to get you not to do the best thing that can do for your life. You know, like instead of drinking, instead of partying, you just want to like handle life. If they start to resent you for that, don't resent them. It just means they're not ready. Sometimes when you're the first one to do it, you're gonna be the one that inspires every single one of them to do it. And if you're the one who doesn't want your friends to leave, and you're the one thinking, oh, everyone leaves me, in the end everybody leaves me, if you're thinking of that abandonment thing, I think it's time for you to reflect on yourself and look, is everybody leaving me, or is everyone actually being responsible and taking accountability of their life and I'm not? No one leaves you. People just go out to do what they want to do and find themselves. That's just the truth. Right, let's start. Right, welcome to another episode of Life. Guys, so for today's episode, we're gonna talk about growth. Like growth in general, dude. Like why growth feels lonely, why growth and self-improvement usually means loneliness. Go back all the way to like 16 years old, all the stories back then. And it's because a lot of the growth happens when you have like a group of friends and then you have your own personal things that you want to do or you know you have to do, and then you start to realize like at 15, 16 years old, right, like no one has their life figured out, and there's a lot of things where like you're just having fun and you're just enjoying your friends' company, or if you're dating at a time, and then you start to realize like when there's important shit that you have to do, or people who have harder lives, they need to work or whatever, then that's where you're on your trajectory to growth. And then certain people who are not ready for that growth won't come to you and they want you to stick. Subconsciously, they want you to stay and hang out and have fun. And that's when a lot of these like loneliness phase happens. And I've had my fair share of losing friends, gaining back friends that after years we reconnect because now we're in the same stage in life. So I want to talk about the stages that we all go through, and I have all my points ready over here, and let's see where this episode goes. And I'm sure everyone can relate to this specific topic because we all go through relationships, friendships, family, your romantic relationships, and then sometimes when there's no more growth, like you just can't stay in that relationship anymore because you can't just have fun in life, you know. There's a limit to that fun, and responsibilities will always catch up to you. So let's go. Point number one that I want to talk to you guys about: why growth feels lonely. And we're gonna talk about like the fear. Yeah, this is the thing also, right? Like the fear of outgrowing your relationships. Looking back when I was in secondary school, from 16 years old, and then in Singapore we either head to junior college or polytechnic, which is one is diploma and one's A levels. And at that point, when I first went to my diploma classes, I was still very good friends with my secondary school people, but there was this weird shift where some of my friends were still going through secondary 5, and I was already in polytechnic. And then once they started going to poly, and then I was in a different poly which was quite far, and they were all still in the east area and I'm in the west. And starting that point, that was like the weird point of like I still wanted to be friends, but our lives are like very different at that point in time. And I was also starting to get like pretty depressed in my own world of diploma, where I was going through IT and I was terrible at it, right? I was super terrible. Like I don't even know why I joined IT now that I think about it. It was like 3 years of just me torturing myself and barely passing anything. And I hated every single subject, but I just went through just because like I wanted to pass and get my diploma. And I was getting depressed because like I failed some subjects, and then I was in a bad class, and a lot of people didn't understand how I was feeling. I was like genuinely depressed, and I tried to talk about it to my secondary school friends at the time, and they didn't understand how I was feeling, and they're just like, "Oh, you'll get over it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." But it just got worse and worse, and it made me walk away from them subconsciously But at the same time, I also feared that I was outgrowing them, in a sense that I felt like I was trying to get my life together with my diploma while they weren't. But in reality, they were also just trying to figure out their own life. And that was just how much the depression was like affecting myself, where like it's a weird thing with depression and like feeling these emotions, because at first it feels like you feel for your friend, but after a while, if it keeps going on for months and months and months, and they try to help you, or they have listened to you once in a while, and you're still in that loop, then there comes a fine line between like, yes, it is your depression, but also the other side of it is like, is it like, can you actually do something about it? Like, you have to start doing the work. So I was reaching that point where I didn't want to be friends with them anymore, and I did walk away for a little bit. There was a lot of misunderstanding between the friendships, and they were like my childhood friends, man. Like, so many of them, probably like how many of us, 5, 6, 7 of us, I don't remember exactly how many of us there were, but there was a lot of like misunderstanding with who we are, and just isolation, a lot of isolation between like just me doing my own shit and them doing their own shit. Now I'm 26. Me and my secondary school friends, a lot of us are like sort of in the same stage in life, where we're all trying to figure out where to work, or some of us who are already working. Like, we're all sort of in that same stage, and we've all rekindled most of the friendship, and it's a different type of friendship, right? I think the problem is when you have a certain type of friendship, right? Let's say you have a friendship from when you were in secondary school, high school, whatever your school is, all right, and they want to keep the friendship the same way. I think that's the problem, because you can't have the same relationship all the way through. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to grow. Like, people grow. Same thing with your romantic relationship, right? Like, if you've had a nice relationship from when you were in secondary school, high school, and there was a lot of dates, fun, all these kind of things, but there comes a time where reality hits, like, okay, how are we gonna find a house? How are we going to talk to our parents? How are we gonna pay the bills? You know, that's that reality side of it. So I think with friends, the hardest thing about friends is like, you don't, there's not a lot of like friendship breakups. Do you know what I mean? Like, with a breakup, like, you know, clearly certain things aren't gonna work out, but like with friends, it's always like a weird middle line. And I feel like it just depends on whether you've reached a stage where like all of you are similar. And especially in terms of self-improvement, I started getting really, really into like gym self-improvement kind of things after national service, after doing my national service. And that point in time, so this was in 2022 when I first came to Australia. My secondary school friends came to the airport and to send me off, and that was beautiful. Like, I have no bad blood with them, right? Like, even though my whole time in Australia, like, I didn't really talk to them, I didn't see them, but there was a part of me that felt like every time I hung out with them, it feels like I was trapped in time. And I felt like there was a part of me that I feel like I was outgrowing that relationship. And also, I was being the changed one. Like, as bad as it sounds, I felt like I was better than them, you know, at that time. I'm going to get to the end point, but I just felt like I was getting to a point where like I'm gymming, I'm doing all these things to like really find myself and be the better version of myself. And I felt like if I stayed friends with them, I would be stuck in life. And after a lot of things went down, and life just happens, you know, like a lot of shit went down after I graduated, and I decided to reconnect with everyone. And it was so weird, man, because like for 2 years I felt that, I sort of felt that way, but I've never had any bad blood with them. And now that we've reconnected, like properly reconnected, like we're all friends. We don't hang out every day, of course. I'm still in a different country, but what I've realized with being the changed one, or whatever it is, like why it's so hard, is you give different sides of you to each person in your life. And you start to realize like everyone's image of you is a certain version of you, and someone's my friend's view of me is one way. My ex's point of view of me is one way. My parents' view of me is another way. And when people have had so much fun with you and like that childhood memory of you, it's only normal. Like I've also had friends where like we love the past so much that we sort of like isolate in that frame. But if you realize like I need to do something in my life, right? Like whatever it is, like each and every one of us has our own goals. And if you don't, then you're that friend, right? You're that friend trying to hold everybody down. Don't be that guy. And you realize like I think internally we subconsciously think that whoever is going to go against our goals is our enemy and they're just not growing. But the reality is just that everyone grows at different paces. And sometimes the worst part is the reality in life is that your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, wife, your best friend can sometimes be the same people who are comfortable and wanting you to stay at that comfort level when you know you have to grow out of it. Because it's also the fact that once you start self-improving, like all the self-improvement stuff, once you start getting better, your friend, your partner loses this part of you. Like the you that they know is now gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, with me and my family, yeah. Once I decided to go to Australia and change my life and everything, as hard as it is, as beautiful as it is to see your son grow up, it means losing them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it means they have to lose this side of me where like I was always at home and comfortable loving them, but now I am going to be that son who's away and growing. You want to see them grow, but at the same time it's very uncomfortable. Seeing someone you love grow can be uncomfortable when you don't want to grow. And that's just the reality. And like it's such a weird thing because I think we hold on to too many versions of our past selves and our past relationships, and sometimes it just doesn't benefit us anymore after a while. That's just the hard truth, isn't it? And it just reminds me of like how many people are isolated and stuck in certain environments, and they want to do something in their life, but because everyone around them is just like, oh bro, let's just hang out, let's just chill, let's just drink, let's just do this, bro, why do you need a job? Like, chill out, like we still got time, like let's just go with the flow, buddy. Like, fuck you guys who says, like all you people who say like just go with the flow. Let me tell you the thing about going with the flow, yeah guys, it's actually like to actually make things go with the flow and actually love the flow. It's actually planning down what you want in life first, right? So going with the flow isn't, all right, bro, let's just see where life goes and let's just float around. Let's like just be like, all right, Matthew McConaughey right here. Even Matthew McConaughey, yeah, the guy who's like the most chillest guy that I've known in Hollywood, had plans, and then you go with the flow. So for example, where you want to get like a bigger body or what, like, okay, you have no plans in your life, all right? Like you're a piece of shit, right? For a better word, you're a piece of shit. You're just lazy and you're just going with the flow. Your life isn't going to go anywhere. That's just how the reality is. The thing I tell people is that I don't have my life together. My life isn't where I want it to be. It's not as disciplined as you think it is. I do have my faults. Even this episode, it took me like 2 hours to like actually sit down, like, how do I do this episode? And I just procrastinated, to be honest. And the reality with going with the flow is actually like planning first. All right, I want to get a degree. I want to get a better body. I want to do this. And it requires me to do this. All right, now that this plan is sort of there, now let's go with this flow of direction. Once you have that direction, right, Then when things go out of your way, when I'm like going to the gym, maybe I get sick, maybe I get an injury, or I need to work more so that I can pay for certain bills. Maybe my car breaks down, and then now I'm like, oh wait, I can't spend too much time in the gym. I can't spend too much time doing this random going outs. Then I need to spend more time working. Then that's part of going with the flow. Then you have to handle other responsibilities from there. And that's how going with the flow can actually like lead you somewhere. When you say, let's just go with the flow in life, and there's actually no plan, right? There's nothing in your head. You're just like, let's just see where life goes. Going with the flow means like, you're just going to take the road, right? The best analogy I can give is like, let's just go out to drive and just drive straight all the way and never stop. But you're going to hit buildings, you're going to hit everything. Let's just drive straight. Like, you're bound to turn left and everything. But like, there's no destination. Like, you need to have a destination and enjoy the journey. Like, I've had enough of this bullshit, especially in relationships, when like I realized that that's actually a bad thing, where you don't just go with the flow anymore, especially with how we're like romanticizing too much about love. Love is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but marriage and a partnership it's a separate thing. Like, you need more than love. You need planning. You need responsibility. You need to take care of yourself. You can't be with someone who doesn't take care of yourself. All right? Because someone who takes care of themselves loves themselves, and then in turn will be able to love you better. Simple as that. So that's with the challenges of like fucking doing self-improvement. It's a weird stage in life, man. I think everyone will go through it at least 2-3 times in their lives. You get different variations of your own best friends. And I'm glad I reached out to all my secondary school friends, because until now, like, I feel like now we're all in the same spot where we're in this stage trying to find a job and all this kind of thing. And we're not meeting as much, of course. Like, we have responsibilities, but just the fact that everyone is in a healthy spot, everyone is going through their own troubles, and we're all understanding each other better. I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And the thing is, we only know what we know at the time. I hope they don't blame me. And there's a part of me that blames myself for walking away from that friendship at that time. But they didn't know better. They didn't know how to handle my depression at the time. They didn't know how to handle all these things. And just seeing us growing up together, and all of us being in a healthy spot, and just figuring out life, I think is such a beautiful thing to still have, because not everyone gets that, be it from a friendship or relationship, whatever it is, you know. Coping with the loneliness is definitely a thing, because like, for example, when I started to do the self-improvement with my uni and my gym life, every single friend that I've had before that went at the same stage of their life. Like, they're not gymming, they're not doing all these things. And then now making new friends who are on the same trajectory as you, who are like doing the same things as you, gets you excited, right? You're like, yes, like now I have the same type of people who are around me. Like, we're all self-improving, we're trying to figure out life. But it's also scary, because like, it feels like you're throwing away that years of relationship with your friend, and you feel like oh, they're pieces of shit. Like, they're not improving. Like, you just feel like you're better than them. And it gets scary as well, because like, now you're in a whole different stage of life where the new friends, and you have to form new trust, and it's sort of like a new side of you comes out that you don't recognize, and it's scary, if that makes sense. Like, meeting new people can be like, I remember coming here and then talking to new people from different unis, RMIT, and then from my Swinburne place as well, and then going to the gym with different types of people, and also my neighbors. It was like, part of me was enjoying that we were all self-improving, but part of me was also then like thinking I miss my friends back then, because like of just all the fun that we had. That's when I feel like you start to realize you need a balance of both in life, because it's fun and nice to have all these people that you grow with and have your community where you do your gym, business, podcast, whatever it is that you like to do. But you also want friends that you can just like hang out and just be like, dude, work was stressful. Like, just eat, talk a little bit about the past, talk just purely about your relationships, your wife, husband, whatever it is, just to like decompress. Do you know what I mean? And it just reinforces to me again and again that like life is really about yin and yang, where like you have the balance of everything. And I just feel like there's a part of me that's just been lied to now that I've grown up, thinking I need to find that partner who's my everything, or I need to find a friend that is growing with me all the time. And I've realized like no one can handle the weight of everything. Like, you can't marry someone thinking they'll be your everything, because you need to be your everything. And then you need support from different types of people. I heard Dr. John Deloney, a therapist on YouTube, said that your wife/husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, can't carry the weight of every single problem of yours. Like, they just can't. Like, it's not visibly possible at all. And the romanticization, is that even a word? The romanticization, holy shit, English, I'm just kidding. I'm terrible in English. Of like Hollywood movies and just love in general and Disney, all that kind of shit, is that you need to have different types of people in your life to be able to like talk about different problems in your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's a work problem, yeah, you can talk about it with, like, I would love to talk about it with my future partner, but if it's like a work problem that I really, really, really want to solve, do I have to talk to my partner about it? Or do I talk to another business partner or someone who's in the same field? You know, maybe I can share the frustration of it with my partner, but we need different people. Or even raising kids, like, we as humans need, there's that saying, right? You need a village to raise kids, but now we look at it as like independence, where you can raise your own kid. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, you need help from your friends, your family. And the thing I've learned about self-improvement, it's when you start to improve yourself, but knowing when to rely on others. I think that's, to me, the peak of when you've reached self-improvement, is when you're doing all the work, but you also realize where you need help, and then you call for support. When you're at that stage of self-improvement where everything is just you're just a baby. You're just a baby in the self-improvement world, right? But once you are at that self-improvement level of like, I'm losing friends, and then now I'm gaining friends again, and then you start to realize like, oh wait, I can have everything, and I should have everything. All my past friends that are in healthy spots, all right? And also needing help when you know you can't handle the weight of your problems alone. When there's too many rocks in your bag, and you need to let some go to have your friends help you carry it or throw it away for you. And that to me is the definition. That to me is when you know you've reached the peak of self-improvement. It's when you know when to ask for help and rely on the people that love you. Because man, it's so hard to rely, because there's a part of it that always feels like a burden. There's some parts of me that always feels like a burden to my family still, especially when I want to go back to Singapore. I feel like I need to save money first, and then I'll be able to fly back home, and then I'll be able to pay the rent while I'm back in Singapore, all these things. But both my parents have always said, like, whenever you need to come back home, or we want you to come back home, please come back home. And I've talked to my brothers about this. I talked to them about it. And they are more than happy to, not even more than happy to, they want to pay for my flight and handle some things. But a part of me just doesn't want to, because I know it's my responsibility. But if someone that loves you, especially like your parents or your partner, and they want to do something for you, they want to compliment you, they want to buy you flowers, they want to buy you a ticket, they want to buy you a holiday, whatever it is, allowing it is also part of love. Receiving it is also part of love that's hard to accept. And I'm still practicing to like really accept this love. And I think it's the final stage of my self-improvement is accepting the love and the gifts that the people who love me want to give, and just like fully accepting it instead of trying to be like, oh no, it's okay, I'm independent, that kind of shit. So the only tip that I want to give you guys is don't resent anyone. In this stage of life, this is about you. It has nothing to do with the people back in your life. The people who want you to stay in that same way, don't resent them. Even if they're trying to get you not to do the best thing that you can do for your life. Like instead of drinking, instead of partying, you just want to like handle life. If they start to resent you for that, don't resent them. It just means they're not ready. It just means they're not ready to face the reality of life. And sometimes when you're the first one to do it, you're going to be the one that inspires every single one of them to do it. So don't hold back when you know you're going to be that one. Don't hold back, because you'll be the one inspiring them. And if you're the one who doesn't want your friends to leave, and you're the one thinking, oh, everyone leaves me, in the end, everybody leaves me. If you're thinking of that abandonment thing, I think it's time for you to reflect on yourself and look, is everybody leaving me, or is everyone actually being responsible and taking accountability of their life and I'm not? If you're not, then the question is, what are you doing? The question is, how are you going to take accountability for your life right now? Because no one leaves you. No one leaves you. People just go out to do what they want to do and find themselves. But no one leaves you. That's just the truth. And the only beautiful thing about life is when you choose you, and you have friends that are also on that same path. You have a relationship, your husband, your wife, who are also on that same path, where they choose themselves and aim for a better future. I think that to me is happiness. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.